Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
Good evening and welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and I'm excited to be hanging out with you once again on Tuesday evening. Like always, I always invite you to ask questions and comment. At the end of the day, as an entrepreneur and business owner, your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. So, you have to continually learn and develop your skills and develop especially your leadership skills. And that's what this show is all about, helping you to learn from other successful small business leaders and entrepreneurs about how they've led their organizations and how they help other people to lead their organizations more effectively. As you know, one of the things that I always, like to impart is, your most important job as a business owner. And it's really about sales and marketing. So probably 50% of our shows are focused on some area of sales and or marketing. And today we have another, really focused on marketing, but not only that, market research. And that's something a lot of people kind of skip or don't really do well, but it's very important because that can make a huge difference in your ability to sell effectively and to sell more faster. So excited tonight. Tonight's show is, we're going to focus on attracting more clients by asking better questions. So understanding what their needs are so you can find solutions for them better. So I've got my guest, Catharine O'Leary, and she's the quiz lady. And she uses quizzes as a way to learn more about her clients as well as help others, develop the right questions to learn more about their clients and potential clients, so they can be more successful. So let me bring on Catharine and we'll get started. Good evening, Catharine. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you for having me on.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. I'm glad you're taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us. I'm looking forward to having a lively conversation and really, digging into some things that could really help entrepreneurs and business owners be more successful. So definitely. But before we get started, the quiz queen, I've never seen that as a job description. So, what does that mean and how did you become the quiz queen? What's your journey like?
Yeah, those are great questions. So I didn't grow up wanting to be a quiz queen per se. I wanted to be the Wolf of Wall Street, really. So I actually did go to university, got a master's degree in economics. And with that, I started with market research, which, economics, microeconomics is all about. Really wanted to understand, why people chose the things that they did. So, for example, a car lot that has two identical cars sitting side by side. One is red and one is black. The red one gets sold for more often, more money. Why is that? Like what is going on with that? So we would delve in and really try to understand what people were, willing to pay for, and exactly, what the different levers or the different product offerings would help consumers with, whether it's their needs or their desires or their challenges. So we did all that through market research. So I spent 30 years in corporate, working for and with the likes of Pepsi and Apple and Adobe, always asking a lot of questions. So we asked a lot of questions of a lot of different people, and we would take that information, and take it back to the corporation to really understand better what their product innovation needed to look like, what their marketing needed to, and messaging needed to say, to really meet those, the needs of their ideal clients. So what corporate does really well is listen to their ideal clients. They ask a lot of questions, and they actually implement, those insights. Entrepreneurs, however, don't do that as well. And as Andrew you'd said, we tend to skip that stage in entrepreneurship where we go straight to, I have this great idea. I'm going to solve this problem. It's a problem usually that we've had on our own that we solved for. But then we don't really get into the depth that corporate does into what our consumers really want, really need, really are challenged with in their language, so that we can connect better. So I'm now on a mission to make sure that, entrepreneurs and small, and medium-sized businesses really ask a lot more questions, understand their ideal clients a little better, both, from demographics, psychographics, but also those needs and challenges, and really, connect, because, the days of if we build it they will come are over. And we really need to be building relationships right from the start of our first conversations, so that we can, connect better and we can serve better, if that makes sense.
All right, excellent, excellent. So you're saying that relationships are key, and
Mhm.
really, that's pretty much what marketing is all about. Um, is building the relationship so that you can sell more effectively. Because if you have a relationship, it makes it a lot easier to sell.
Yeah, I think that we've veered off that path a little bit, over, the last 10 years or so, where marketing has gotten a lot more transactional, and a lot more kind of, bells and whistles, if you will, as opposed to real relationships. So, like buy this in the next 5 seconds because it's going to go away forever and ever. But you're going to get it for a buck 25 right now. And like those days, our consumers are a little more savvy now. We're coming out of the pandemic, and, we're still trying to figure out exactly what the world looks like after that. But, this, this rush to make decisions, especially big, financial decisions, people are just saying, "Well, no, well, like we don't know each other well enough for me to spend, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is with you. So, let's hold the fort because a lot of marketing right now is, oh, you have a problem? Great, I have a solution. Just, cut me a check for $5,000 and we'll, it's very much proposing marriage on the first date.
Hmm.
And I think that people are, they kind of want to be courted, right? They want to get to know us. They want to get to really understand what we can do and serve and help them with. And I think that's fair.
Yep. No, I mean, definitely. I agree that, um, things have, relationships have sort of, in certain instances, um, not been appreciated as much and not been utilized as much and selling. But like you said, people are getting wise to that, and also, people are having less money and everything's going up. So they have to make more decisions and have to look at what they're spending a lot closer than they were looking before. So, so that's cool. So you're the quiz lady. Um, so what is a quiz? What are these quizzes that you do, and how do they work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, in market research terms, a quiz is slightly different than a survey. So a survey is something that a business will put out to gather information from people. It's one way, it's the business getting all the information. They use it in the back room however they want. But the consumer that's actually providing that information doesn't get a lot of value out of it. Maybe they get an incentive or something to actually participate in the survey, but there's no real communication, there's no back and forth. It's not like the consumer actually knows where that information is going or how it's being used. Whereas a quiz is more of a conversation. So it's more, if it's done strategically and done with this intent, where you're asking questions that matter for people to understand how to move from the problem that they have, whatever they're waking up, I call it, with the 3 a.m. question. So, what is that 3 a.m. question that your clients are waking up with, saying, "Oh my gosh, I just wish," or "How do I?" or "How am I going to get, here or there?" Or, I just, I only, if I could only, what are those questions that your clients are waking up with, and then how do you connect your solutions with those 3 a.m. questions, so that people get to know like a little bit about, your solution. They get to know a little bit about you because you're able to, put together questions that have, a little bit of your personality. If you're quirky, you can have some quirky questions. And it's a two-way conversation, so the client actually learns a little bit about themselves and a little bit about the solution that could help them with that 3 a.m. question. And you get to learn a little bit about your ideal client, about what they need and what their challenges are, what their priorities are, so that when you do invite them to that next phase of a webinar or a call, or whatever that looks like for you, there's already some learning, there's already some trust established, and you're able to, move forward through the next stages a little more quickly because you're both on the same page. So it's not like getting onto a call and realizing that the person has, a totally different problem to solve than you do, than what you actually help people with. You're able to dive in and really serve the people that you're meant to serve. So that's, in the, at the beginning of the relationship, that's what a client acquisition quiz could do for you, is really make sure that your ideal clients are being attracted to you. Make sure they know a little bit about you. Make sure they, learn a little bit about how you can serve them. And you, also get to learn a little bit about them, and can better tailor your conversations to them. So it's kind of a win-win all around.
Okay, excellent. So, so we're talking a little bit about quizzes and how that works and some of the benefits. So we're going to dig into some of the details. But before that, we're just going to take a quick break. We do this show through the Small Business Pro University. So definitely might be good to know what the Small Business Pro University is. So we have a short video break, and then I'll be back with Catharine talking small business. Many small businesses experience low or no revenue growth, and the owners are not making enough money. I founded the Small Business Pro University to help business owners break that cycle by empowering them with greater knowledge and enhanced skills to lead their companies more effectively. Over the past 15 years, I've worked one-on-one with more than 1,000 business owners and taught tens of thousands of people about business. My experience includes serving as a Navy officer, graduating from MIT, earning an MBA from NYU, and achieving the CFA designation. Small Business Pro University empowers entrepreneurs like you to run their businesses more professionally. and create sustainable enterprises. Small Business Pro University provides access to valuable resources, partnerships, and relationships that will help you to grow revenue, increase profit, and obtain financing faster and easier. Our Masterpreneur initiatives include more than 100 expert-led multimedia courses and training programs with more than 2,500 lessons. The Small Business Pro Network, our private community for entrepreneurs. Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, our weekly live stream and podcast. Advanced Learning Institutes focused on revenue generation, profit maximization, and capital acquisition. And the Power Breakfast series, in-person events where business owners learn best practices, enjoy great networking, and gain useful knowledge. If you want to sell more and make more, you need to check out Small Business Pro University. Visit our website at www.sbprou.com. Great. We're back with Catharine O'Leary, talking small business. Our topic is attracting more clients by asking better questions. So now you talked about studying economics and it really being about, understanding how people make decisions. So how do people make decisions?
Well, so I mean, there's always the know, like, and trust factor. So, as you get to know somebody and as you build that relationship with them, their know, like, and trust of you goes up. And, as that goes up, you become a trusted, you know, not confidant, but a trusted person to do business with, a trusted, person that, can suggest different courses of actions and different, products and services. So take that, I think that some people in business over the last few years have taken that for granted and maybe not been a good steward of that particular side of trust. And I think that we need to take that back and hold that trust sacred, and making sure that we are really serving our clients and serving our communities in a way that, that fosters that trust, and um, it really, you make sure that you're really doing things in service of your clients, and for their best interests. So I think that if everyone can kind of take a step back and get back into making sure that they are, providing the recommendations and the intellect and the courses and services and so on that your ideal client really truly needs. And not maybe playing so much of the sales game and the transactional gain. I think that that would go a long way to building those relationships that are going to be longer term. They're going to help your client retention, and they're going to help the lifetime value of your client, which, is going to help your bottom line all around.
Excellent, excellent. So, so definitely, um, how people make decisions is key.
Hmm.
One of the strategies that's fairly prevalent these days is, I think it's NLP. Um,
Yep.
what is that, and how does it work, and what do you think of that strategy?
So NLP is neuro linguistic programming, and it's a really fancy way of making sure that you are speaking in a way that influences people. It's a tool like any other tool. It can be used in, in good ways, and, in not so good ways. NLP can be highly manipulative if it is used in those bad ways. So I think that you got to be careful. I think that some of the backlash, if you will, on a lot of this transactional, behavior and what's being called bro marketing, is coming out of people feeling like they've been manipulated or pushed into things that they don't necessarily need or want. So I would, again, NLP is something that people, can use for good. You need to be ethical with it, and I think that you need to make sure, again, as long as you're having the best interests of your clients at heart, I think that, NLP can help you break through some of the white noise and some of the, um, you know, just the garbage that's out there, if you will. But use it in a way that is helpful for your end clients and serves your end clients. So, so at the end of the day, they want to stay and they want to continue working with you. um it's just, I think it's just getting back to those grassroots of, would you talk to your best friend like this, or would you recommend this to your sister or your brother? Because if the answer is no, then I'd take a hard look as to whether or not you're doing the right thing for your client.
All right, great. I mean, definitely, like you said, it can be highly manipulative. And, I think I've seen a lot of people use it in that way. Um, how,
Yeah, which is unfortunate. And it's, again, it's just a tool.
mhm,
um it's like hypnosis. NLP is tied sometimes to hypnosis. And again, it's kind of like AI. AI can be used for good, or AI can be for evil. But I think it's the way that you're utilizing the tools, and at the end of the day, that comes down to your integrity, your ethics, and your authenticity. And I think that if you stay true to yourself, and stay true to your clients, you'll be on the right
okay. So, on the other side, if someone's doing NLT to you, what is that? How do you know that? Or how can you tell if someone's using
path.
that
They're just,
strategy?
yeah. There's like there are some frameworks, language patterns that people use, like anchoring. When they tell you the price is $10,000 usually, but you're going to get it for 997. There's some different um, anchoring strategies. I'm not an NLP expert,
Hmm.
so I mean, I recognize it. I think when I hear it, I mean, a lot of the times I may not, but if
Hmm.
somebody's like super good at it, I think that at the end of the day, if in my heart it's, yes, I need to work with this person, yes, this person can help me, then I go with that. As opposed to, I mean, I have been in recently. I was in a 3-day event where the person was using NLP, well, badly to begin with,
Okay.
but also very manipulative, very heavy-handed, and it turned everyone in the room off. So it was like, wow, he's just being super full on with this, and it wasn't subtle, and it wasn't comfortable, and everyone got that icky used car salesman feeling. Like, anytime you get the icky used car salesman feeling, you want to run away.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. So now, on the decision making, I talk to a lot of clients and say, you have to talk to your customers because e- they may buy from you for different reasons than you think, and they
Mhm.
may actually be different people than you think. One client I worked with um, sold jewelry for women, but when she did the research, she found out that it was actually men buying the jewelry, not women, but she had been marketing to women. So, I think quizzes could have potentially figured that out sooner.
Yeah.
And um, so, when you're implementing quizzes, how do you figure out, how do you get people to do them first, and how do you get them to the right people?
Great question. So I think that the getting them to the right people is really about attracting the right people to begin with. So I go back to the 3 a.m. question that I talked about. And if you think about that 3 a.m. question that people wake up in the middle of the night and think, oh my gosh, what is that that's driving them to lose sleep over, in the sense of the solutions that you can help them with. The key thing there is to, not only understand what that question is, but to understand it in their language. So I can give you an example. Very few people on the planet will wake up at 3 a.m. thinking, "Oh my gosh, I wonder how I optimize my quiz funnel." Nobody says that, right? Like, except for me and maybe one other person on the planet. That's not how you immediately wake up. That's not the wording that we use. So we can get really super clever over being clear. And if you back everything up to that 3 a.m. heart failure, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to, what is the rest of that sentence in your client, your ideal clients, in that moment? What do they say? If you use that language, that's who you're going to attract. So anyone that's not, kind of concerned with that particular question, or that particular topic, they're not going to take your quiz because they're not interested, and that's okay because they're not your ideal client. So by actually utilizing that 3 a.m. question and really understanding, first of all, who your ideal client is, and then secondly, what that question is that they are bothered by and stressed about, and what language that you're using, you're actually going to attract those people, and repel the people that are just not interested in that question, not interested in answering it, which is brilliant because that's what you want to be doing. You want to be vetting out the people that aren't ready for you or aren't your people. And then you can use that quiz, pretty much anywhere. You can use it on your social media. You can use it in networking. You can put a QR code. You can put it in your book if you have a book that you're authoring. Like I've dropped my quiz at the grocery store because somebody asked me what I did for a living, and I said, well, check out the quiz. At quizformybiz.com. That will kind of show you exactly what I do. So it becomes a filter for all of your marketing, whether you're on stages, summits, podcasts are a great place to use your quiz, but everyone goes through your quiz so that you're sure that they are your ideal client, and that they are looking for the solution that you're providing.
Okay. All right. So really, you sort of have to try and get in front of the audience, and then
Yeah,
you're really narrowing down the audience, and sort of, I guess, what they call qualifying your leads
yeah,
to make sure
yeah.
that they're appropriate for what you're offering.
Well, that they're appropriate for what you're offering and that you're appropriate for them.
Mhm,
Right?
mhm,
So, like, I love it when people drop off my quiz because, they're not my people. Like, I want to attract the best and release the rest because there's
mhm.
somebody else's best, right?
Okay,
Like, there's more than enough to go around. And if I'm not your person, God bless and good luck. And, I wish you all the best.
okay.
But let's get to that decision early so neither one of us is wasting time.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. So now, as part of decision making, I mentioned that things tend to be different than you might think. Um, you know, as an economist, you're probably familiar with Freakonomics,
Yep.
and that's a interesting book because it really outlines some things that um, outlines how people make decisions on things that are sort of areas where most people don't look into it, but are pretty
Yep.
interesting. Um,
Well, I mean, in my 30 years of corporate market research, and I've done it with technology companies, with telecom, with financial institutions, consumer packaged goods. I've been in the back room of those focus groups. I've put the surveys together and analyzed the data. I can count on one hand how many times I was right when I guessed the outcome. Right?
mhm,
So anytime that they like, this is the ad that's gonna win, or this is the flavor, or this is the name that's gonna win, I was, like, honestly, like, wrong almost every single time, and it always shocked me because I thought I knew the ideal client. So yeah, like, I mean, it's really important to be talking to your clients, because they will shock you.
Hmm.
And what you think is going on with them is completely different. So your messaging is off. The consumer benefits that you have that you're talking about might be off. I mean, even with my own quiz, when I did the data analysis, I realized that I kept talking about the 3 a.m. question, which I thought everyone was super interested in, and it turns out that they're really interested in making sure that they're the authority and the expert in the industry. So how do quizzes do that? Like, that's like, I needed to change some of my conversations. So, like, even after 35 years, I'm still I'm still guessing. I'm still checking to make sure that I'm not my worst enemy in the terms of, trying to guess what people are actually thinking, because I'm not a
Okay.
mind reader.
Definitely, definitely, and business evolves a lot and quickly. So it's important to continually evaluate what you're doing and the
Mhm.
value of it. So makes a lot of sense. So I got sort of a comment and question from Dr. Michelle Scott. So I'm going to put it up here and we'll take a look. So Michelle learned about a value game from the Netherlands.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, do you work with nonprofits and communities and have a quiz to learn the values, um, or could possibly make a quiz to learn the values? I don't know.
Yeah, this is a great question. So thank you. I mean, a quiz and kind of, always getting client feedback is going to work for any business. Nonprofits and communities definitely can work for. I think, to your point about learning their values, I think that that is actually a great, conversation around segmentation. So, really understanding your ideal clients and their sub segments. So their subgroupings, if you will. And I put this as this is your J.K. Rowling moment. So J.K. Rowling, the creator of Harry Potter, if you think about Hogwarts, which is the school that all the kids go to, everyone in the school is a witch or a wizard, so they're your ideal client. But as they go through, that first day, they get sorted into different houses. So they get sorted into, the Gryffindor, the Slytherin, the Ravenclaw, the Hufflepuff, as based on, characteristics, as based on, learning needs, whatever that's based on. Um, but like, those are the four houses of Hogwarts. You're doing something similar when you do when you create subgroups within your company. So for you, it might be, we have value one, we have our biggest value is value one, or the most, prioritized value, whereas some people might have value two and some people might have value three. So you can definitely use a quiz to make sure that you understand what those values are, and then put people into the value that is most important to them to talk about. And that's then how you can go forward with them in customizing the messaging and, the conversations that you have, so that you're always talking about value one to the value one people, and value two to the value two people, and so on. um, you don't want to get too crazy, and have, like, 15 or 20 values or groupings, or houses, because you want to be sure that you can customize the messaging. And having too many segments to manage is just, kind of a recipe for disaster. But yeah, you can definitely, create those values, and then you can call it whatever you want. I mean, Gryffindor wasn't a name until J.K. Rowling. So you can have those, whatever makes sense for you and your brand, and your tone and your personality. You can call those groups whatever you want, and then, you can have some fun with, hey, are you a green dragon or are you a red dragon? Are you Gryffindor or are you Hufflepuff? Like, you can actually get into some really cool marketing with doing that. So definitely quizzes can help you figure out what that segmentation should be, even before you even launch the quiz. You can have that all sorted out, and then gain information as you launch the quiz and tweak as you need to, as you learn more and more about what people are doing. I had one client who thought that one of her segments would be, maybe 10% of her base, and it turned out to be 50% of her base. And she didn't really have a product line for them. So she went out and created some courses and some offers for them and ended up with a whole new revenue stream because she understood that segment of her population was a lot bigger than she thought it was. So these are the things that you learn, because you're guessing before, and now you've got data to actually support, and you can make data driven decisions based on that, which is, you know, what I'm all about. I want to make sure that you're, building your business and making those decisions based, co-creating almost with your ideal client.
Okay, excellent. Your Harry Potter knowledge um, is still pretty good. I see. Uh,
I love Harry Potter. I mean, come on.
well, yeah, I got kids, so I've seen all the movies, but none of the books. Um, but definitely, that makes a lot of sense. It also reminds me a little bit of um, personality
Mhm.
type tests like the Myers-Briggs and other ones. Would you consider that a quiz like what you were mentioning, or is that something different?
It is sort of a quiz. I mean, a quiz, I would say, for business purposes tends to be a little smaller. I mean, the Myers-Briggs test is quite a number of questions, and that's one thing that you don't have a lot of time, right? Especially with our society right now. I mean, we have the attention span of less than a goldfish. Goldfish has 8 seconds. We have 7. So we don't have a lot of time to get in there and do it like a whole 30 or 50 questionnaire Myers-Briggs conversation. But that being said, a quiz for business purposes, you can still get a lot of value after, on, 5 to 12 questions, and still put people into their relevant segments if you understand their problem to solve, your solution, and how to connect those two conversations, or sorry, those 2 points with a conversation that you just happen to put into question format. So if you think about the quiz questions, they tend to be stepping stones of understanding this is your problem. This is how, we need to understand these types of pieces of information so that we can help you understand this is your solution. And that's how the quiz really works. So the Myers Briggs and so on, their personality tests, they end up being segmentations in effect. I just don't think that you have that kind of um, time, not for a client acquisition quiz, but maybe for an onboarding quiz or an application form. You could have a lot more questions. You got a little bit more time with people that already trust you and already are your clients. So you can ask a lot more questions, but definitely personality types. People love to learn what type they are, what's your leadership type, what's your what's best, what's the best website for you, and that might be classical or modern or something like that. So people really do like to do those quizzes and learn something about themselves. That's really what drives a quiz and drives people to finish them.
Okay, okay, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, the Myers Briggs separates people into 16 categories, so it's got a lot
Yeah.
of questions, um, but definitely narrowing it down makes a lot of sense. And
Mhm.
you know, so we've been talking about quizzes, but what are some best practices when you're making a quiz? What are some things that you need to do, and what are some things that you shouldn't do?
So, great question. So, one of the things that you shouldn't do is try to put everything in the kitchen sink into a quiz. So, really ask with intention. Like, why are you asking this question? What is the consumer going to learn about themselves from this question? And how are you going to use the information or the data at the back end? So in market research, we used to say that every question was like $1 million real estate, because we don't have a lot, like we can't ask every single question known to mankind. You got to really filter out what is necessary and important to know and important for the client experience before you put a question into your quiz. So, making sure that you are not, loading with a whole bunch of questions, and also making sure that you're not loading one question with several questions, because sometimes people get a little verbose and they try to pack everything even into, two or three different ideas into one question, and that just makes it impossible to use the data at the back end, because you don't actually know what people are reacting to in that question, when they're trying to answer it. So, be really super clear. Be like in the language of, a fifth grader, always works. And making sure that you have your quiz hook, or that first question is a discovery question, not something that people can read and say yes or no to. So if it's, the quiz hook is a question that I can just read and answer in my head, yes or no, it doesn't entice me to go through and make the discovery of, what's going on in the quiz. So I'll just continue to scroll on and scroll past it. But if it's something like, discover your website type, or uncover the hidden secret, your number one secret to weight loss, or whatever it is, then it'll stop you and kind of go, oh, I don't know the answer to that. That's the question that, is bothering me. I want to know the answer to that. So I'm going to actually sit down and go through this and take the 60 seconds that it takes to go through this and learn something about myself. Like, let's see what my leadership style is. Am I Warren Buffett, or am I Oprah Winfrey, or whatever that is. So, making it fun, but also making it more of a discovery, and making sure you don't try to overload and learn everything under the sun. Remember that, at least on a client acquisition quiz, it's the cocktail hour. You're just starting out. You're just getting to know each other. You're not going to get into, how much revenue do you make, and, what's your plans for the next 10 years, or anything like that. It's the starter conversation. So just remember, what each question is trying to do, trying to teach your client, and then what you're trying to do with it, and just what the tool is, like what your intentions are for the tool. Keep that in mind.
Okay. All right. So the first question, the discovery. So is it the first question's the discovery question, or is it the overall explanation, or the sort of
It's that, like, first question, that discover your leadership style, or if you were on a Facebook ad, it'd be like the header of, uncover your number one barrier to hitting seven figures, or what's the number one thing that has you stuck. Right? Like, I mean, it's not a yes, no question. It's a, oh, I don't know that. And yeah, I want to know that, because that's waking me up at 3 a.m. Like, I need to understand that better.
Okay, so it's the first question that you ask them, but they don't answer. It's not the first question of the quiz. The actual
Correct.
quiz.
Correct.
Okay,
It's what gets them to start the quiz.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So it's sort of like the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or some people call it the clickbait, or use clickbait to
again, click a tool, a good or evil, like, it's just a tool.
So makes sense. Okay. So now, we've got someone coming in. You said the quiz should be fairly short. Now, are these like multiple choice questions? Are these yes, no questions? Are they open ended? how do what type of question types are usually good on a quiz?
Yeah, that's all of the above can be used. Again, it's whatever's going to help your client understand the progression from, like, what do they need, like, what's the story from the problem that you have to the solution that I have, right? Like, what do we, like, if we were sitting down at a coffee shop, and I needed to ask you just a couple of questions before we could get to a solution, what are those type of questions, right? Like maybe it's, how long have you been in business? Do you have a team? What IT solutions do you use? What's your marketing strategies? What have you tried that has failed in the past? Why do you think it's failed? You want to tell the story of, you've got this problem. Let's figure out what's going on with that problem so that I can offer you one of my four solutions. Or you don't know that yet, but like, I want to make sure that I'm understanding your priorities and where you're kind of getting tripped up most so that I can, serve you best. So, multiple choice, yes, no. Sometimes open end, you got to be careful with those because you got to look at them separately and actually, uh, you know, figure out, like, do some analysis on what's being said in there. So again, don't just ask questions for the sake of asking them. Ask them for, like, I need to understand this so that I can best, put them into this bucket or that, outcome, or that segment. Um, and so, you use the tool, the question that you need to use. And then that's going to be fun. Like, don't forget, this is not the census. Somebody else does the census. Don't worry about that. So it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be all text based. You can have some pictures in there. I just suggest don't overdo it with the pictures and don't overdo it with gifs, because if you have a whole bunch of movement on a page, it just distracts people from what you need them to do, which is read the question, answer the question, hit next. That's all you want them to do. So anything that distracts them from doing that distracts them from the job that you've given them. So just make sure that it's clean, that it makes sense, that it's still fun, that it doesn't read like the phone book back in the day when we had phone books. And that your solutions are shining, but also your personality is shining. Because the worst thing that you can do is get to a discovery call or get to a webinar and they're expecting this kind of personality and you're over here, and now there's a mismatch, and it's like, whoa, this is like a bait and switch. Like, I don't even like this. So, stay true to your brand and stay true to yourself and you'll be fine.
Okay. Excellent. So, we've talked about quizzes. We don't have a whole bunch of time, but I was thinking of maybe an example we could do. Given that we have the live stream here, and we look to market the live stream, and if I was trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I find the right people to participate? Who would see this as something that they need or that they want? How might I, utilize a quiz or quiz strategy to?
So what is the number one problem that your clients, that people that are on the live stream, what's the number one problem that they come to learn more about on this live stream?
I think, and actually, we've got people on the live stream, so you can chime in, because I may not know exactly. I may be wrong, but I think one of the things is there's a lot of sources of information about business, but it's hard to know which ones are actually credible. Because I think that's one thing that the live stream does, based on my 15 years working with over 1,000 business owners and bringing on a lot of business owners. I think credible resource to learn is, I think that's a key piece of it.
So they're looking for small business
Yeah, small
information.
business, business best practices. So not everybody's a business owner right now, but they may be thinking about it or looking at it.
Okay.
But that's the focus.
Um, so you might do a small business readiness score. Are
Mm,
you ready for a small business? Like, so discover your small business readiness score.
okay.
Or you could do um, discover small business best practices. And your segments on that could be things like marketing, like what do you need best practices on most? Is it marketing? Is it sales? Is it accounting? Is it so you could actually your Gryffindors and so on could be those business silos or those business functions of marketing and sales and finance and so on. But if you wanted to do, and that would, you could use that on your live stream, you could use it on your podcast, but you could also use it in the social or the Small Business Pro University
Mhm.
to make sure that everyone goes through the quiz so that you understand where everyone needs the most help. Karen might need the help in sales, but Michelle might need more help in the marketing side of things, and then um, Gavin might need finance, whatever that looks like. So you could do something like that. So really understanding that problem to solve that. So if it's all about where do I find the resources that I need for small business best practices, then you can like um what's your next it's almost like what's your next mountain to climb kind of thing. Like what's the next small business practice that you need to find some expertise on. That's way too long, but something along those lines. What's your small
Okay.
business expertise and where? Because I mean, you could say, "What's your small business expertise?" Oh, I'm marketing. Great. Well, what about sales and finance and all the other things? Because we help you with those too. So you could do like a superpower and then talk about their kryptonite, right?
Okay.
So that that you help them with their kryptonite.
Okay. Okay. And
Just asking a really open-ended to Karen's question, asking a really super open-ended, "How can I help you?" People tend not to answer those verbatim questions. And B, if they do, they don't know what they don't know. So sometimes it's hard for them to ask exactly what they need. You kind of have to, well, what have you tried? Well, like, why do you think that failed? Or, what do you have? Like, have you even put these in processes? Like, you need to tease it out a little bit sometimes.
okay. Okay. So, and you know, if you create a quiz, um, where do you put it? Is there like a quiz platform? Do you use like
Mm,
um whatever, what's the quiz or the
yeah.
survey monkey? Where do I put a quiz, or how do I set up a quiz so that it's operational?
Yeah, that's again a great question. There's a bunch of different programs that you can use. I've used Try Interact. That's been a really good platform for people to use. It's easy. There's lots of templates and they've got good customer service. You can use Jotform if you want to do it for free. Takes a little bit more technology savvy on the back end to be able to use that. So it's not for the faint of heart. But it's kind of like a customer relationship management tool. There's lots of different programs out there that you can use. It depends on your budget. It depends on how tech savvy you are. Depends on how much time you want to spend trying to figure out how to make the quiz platform talk to your CRM. So there's lots of different options. I would get started with just like getting the questions onto like even a Word document, and then finding the technology that suits you best. But it is a step, definitely.
Okay. Okay. And a lot of times people, you know, want to get your email address, and
Mhm.
that's one of their focuses. Like when you're doing a quiz, do you ask people for their email address? Is that something you ask
Absolutely.
up front or before they do the quiz or at the end?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I ask it, or typically with a quiz, what you want to do is you want to get people going through the questions, and you get, the kind of the dopamine hit of micro commitments.
Mhm.
So by the time that they get to the end, before they get the report or before they learn what their type is or what their readiness score is, ask for their email so that you can send them the report. Um, like, I don't want to necessarily know, like, at the beginning, somebody that gives me their email, then I have to go back through and figure out whether or not they actually finished the quiz. I only want to talk to people that actually finished the quiz and got their reports, because
Mhm.
those are my ideal clients. Anyone else that bailed, they're going to bail on a 6-week course, or they're going to bail on, a webinar or whatever. So I don't really want them in my email system. So I wait until we're done with the quiz questions, and just before they get the reports, to say, okay, like, let's get you, your answers. And then, just give me your email and your phone number and whatever. Don't ask for too much information. The more information that you ask for, the lower your response rate will be. So ask for the minimum amount of the information that you need, and then, give them their results, and get psyched for it, get happy for them that they learned this, and that, you have the next steps for them all laid out.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So we covered a lot tonight. There's always a lot more that could be covered. I'm sure you could probably talk about quizzes and market research and how to do it for hours, if not days. Um,
I've been
and
talking about it for 30 years. So,
right,
yep, we
right.
got lots. I got lots
Well,
of stories.
there's lots, but we only got an hour. But since we covered a lot of stuff, it would be good to if you could share like three key things from our
Mm.
discussion tonight that people should take away so that they can really utilize that even starting tomorrow to help them be more successful in their business. We talked about a lot, but a lot of people can't remember more than three things. So we're going to break it down into something easy for people to take away and start implementing tomorrow. So I'll give you a second to think about that, and I'll play a short video about our next event. So November 8th, Friday, November 8th, we're going to have our next Power Breakfast for our entrepreneurs and business owners at the Park Avenue Club in Florham Park, New Jersey. So if you're in Jersey, Northern Jersey, Central Jersey, come out and join us. It's a great event for entrepreneurs and business owners for networking. And if you've never been to one, here's a short video that shows you what it looks like. If you are looking to increase revenues, improve profitability, and or obtain financing for your business, you need to check out the Power Breakfast and Small Business Pro conferences.
My name is Andrew Frazier. One of the things we're here to do is supercharge your day.
Today's Power Breakfast has really been a phenomenal experience. I think it's exactly what business owners need, some true guidance of people who are genuine and really are leading them in the true direction of business growth and expansion.
The Power Breakfast is so important for the entrepreneurial community because it gives the various business people who come together an opportunity to interact and also do some business.
These events, hosted by Andrew Frazier, President and COO of Small Business Like a Pro, will supercharge your day.
Okay, welcome back. I'm here with Catharine O'Leary, talking small business. And right before we close out, Catharine's going to share three key things that we should be taking away from the conversation this evening, talking about how to attract more clients by asking better questions.
So I think that the first thing to do is always ask, don't assume. we do a lot of assuming. We assume that we know what our clients are thinking and wanting and needing. We haven't actually asked. So if there's the one thing that you could rock away from, it would be ask and don't assume. The next thing would be building those relationships right from the start. The people that actually build relationships, build community, and focus more on client retention as opposed to client acquisition, they're going to be the people that are around for a lot longer. So be one of those, and concentrate on building those relationships. And the third is to get excited for the information that you're getting. A lot of people with quizzes use them as glorified lead capture. So you capture their email, which is fine. I mean, that it's good for that, but almost nobody's actually using the information on the back end. And ask with the intention of using the information, because your clients are actually telling you what they want, and we're not listening even when we ask. So go out and ask, but also listen. So those are the three things: to ask and don't assume, to build those relationships, and then to actually listen to the answers and implement changes to your messaging or your offers as needed, so that you're co-creating with your clients, and that'll go a long way to increasing your bottom line.
Great, great. So, first you got to ask the question. So if you don't ask, the answer is going to be no.
Yeah.
And if you don't ask, you don't get. So
Yeah.
very, very important. And what you think in many times is going to be wrong. So it's better to hear it from
Almost
one
always,
people.
folks. Almost always I was wrong. Almost always. It was shocking at the end.
Right. And even today, would you say
Yep.
that you're right most of the time, or you're still learning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's always surprised.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So ask, don't assume, build relationships. Relationships are key. So definitely that's key. And then listen, be excited about the responses and kind of what they're sharing with you. So no, this is great. I think I've learned some things. Definitely going to start utilizing some of what we talked about, and hopefully others who are live here or or aren't quite live here, but catch the repeat. A lot of people catch the repeat. Actually, more people catch the repeat over time. So this has been great. Thank you again for participating tonight. Hang in there for a few minutes while I close out if you can, and we'll go from there. So
Awesome.
excellent. So great. So had another great evening. Definitely, hopefully you learned some valuable things. We had a great guest tonight, and I think a very valuable topic. So definitely it's good that you were able to join us tonight. And what each week, as you know, we always have great guests. And next week, here's a quick preview of what we're going to be talking about next week. So I'm going to be talking with James about how to turn your business into a franchise. Creating a business is a challenge, but one of the goals is creating a business that can run without you. And that's really what a franchise is. So if you want to grow your business, you want to scale, you want to create a business that can run without you, you're going to need to implement many of the characteristics of a franchise. So we're going to be talking about that. And even if you want to create a franchise, the gentleman we're talking about has created franchises and has helped people create franchises. So looking forward to the talk next week, and hopefully you can join us as well. Definitely hope you have a great week, and always remember that the more you know, the faster and more successfully your business is going to grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com. tailor.com.